because the body goes boom, boom, boom. New York to Cali, boom, boom. London, Miami, boom, boom. The girls be slamming, boom, boom, because the body goes boom, boom, boom.
Hello, and welcome to a Champions edition of AGT Time. Cody Patterson here, along with
Jay Bach, your co-host with the most.
How you doing this evening, Jay?
You know, it's a full week of work this week, coming off the holidays. It's a little hard to get into the swing of things sometimes, but I've been looking forward to doing this podcast. You know, we've been teasing about it for so long, sort of looking forward to it. Now it's actually the real thing. Here we are, doing what we want to do.
Yeah, we finally made it to Champions. We've just finished watching Champions Episode 1. And just kind of, after watching it, what's kind of your general feel of the show so far?
I like it. I feel like, some very general impressions about the production, about the show. It feels like it was recorded a while ago. It's not. It's certainly not live. There's not a lot of Terry Crews. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. There was very little. Kind of saw him in the wings, reacting to some of the performances. He interviewed a couple of them kind of after they went out and did their thing, and then we kind of saw him there at the end, announcing the two people that were moving on to the next round.
We didn't get a lot of him, but I think that's fine. It did not feel like I got too much of him, and I'd rather be left feeling like I want more.
Oh, I agree. I think that he's still kind of learning how AGT works. It still seemed, from what we saw, I felt it was a little rough, but I think he'll kind of slide into it as time goes on. I felt personally a little underwhelmed. Okay, kind of. You're right. It did feel it is recorded. It did feel like it was kind of recorded right after season 13 ended. If you kind of look at the production notes on it, it is still considered part of season 13. Yeah. Okay. On Hulu. On Hulu, it says it's like episode 25 of season 13. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a separate season. So it seems like they finished 13, and then maybe just a few weeks later, they rolled right into Champions.
Yeah, what I've seen is a lot of things calling this season 14.
Okay.
Or season 14, episode 1. Or, AGT The Champions, just its own standalone thing.
Yes, I've seen that as well.
But, other impressions, it's a 2-hour episode and 10 acts. I felt like, we're going to be, with, whatever wrap up at the end to announce our winners or whatever, we're going to have about 12 minutes an act, minus commercials. I mean, it felt like, I was afraid that the pace was going to feel really slow, but once we got into it, I did not feel that way.
I kind of felt they packed a lot of the interviews and previews into it. The performances itself seemed really short.
Some of them did, yeah.
Yeah, especially some of the singing, the comedians, Sofie Dossi. Some of those just seemed really, really short. And I think they just packed in a lot of their preview, kind of giving us background of what they've done, how they felt if they lost or if they won, how they felt at that moment, then what they've been doing since AGT. But it seemed like those preview packages seemed a little bit longer than normal, and the performances seemed short.
Yeah, some of them may have been. I also wanted to comment just a little bit on the format of the season. We've got 7 total episodes to cram this entire Champions format into. 2 acts will be moving on each week. One of them will be the judge's golden buzzer. So this first week it was Mel B's turn to have the golden buzzer, and she's going to pick one of the 10 acts to go through. And next week it'll be Did they say that it was going to be Heidi next week? Is that right?
I didn't. If they did, I must have missed it. I didn't hear who they said was going to be next week.
I might be making that up. But another one of the judges is going to choose the Golden Buzzer next week. One of the weeks is going to be Terry Crews. So there's going to be 5 weeks of the judges' individual Golden Buzzer. And also, each of those 5 weeks, there's a panel made up of people from all 50 states. Now, do you know anything about this panel, or can you shed any light on it for me?
Unfortunately, I have not been able to find any information about this other than they're considered super fans.
Yeah, they didn't ask us, did they?
No, they didn't ask us. I would say we're super fans. I would say there's other people, a lot of people out there that are super fans. I did not see any type of audition to be a super fan, or I don't know how they picked the super fans. I don't know if there's one. I've seen articles. There's one from each state, where it's a group of people from each state. We don't really know how many there are. We just know that they're from all 50 states.
Yeah, I got the impression that they were certainly live at the performance. That they were, super fans, like you said. The group consisted of people from all 50 states. I don't think it was just 50 people. It may have been the entire studio audience. I don't know. I really, that part of this is a little shielded in darkness and secrecy. We don't know what's going on.
Right. And one question I had was, if it's from all 50 states and not the audience itself, how did they get to see the performances? How do they know who they're voting on and what they're voting on? So a lot of questions I have around this. There's
a lot of questions around that. I think that it was the live studio audience, and they happened to have people from all 50 states, or were intentional to have people from all 50 states in the live studio audience, and they voted at that night of the live performances. I don't think that they voted from their homes on Monday night.
Okay. No, I don't think they voted that Monday night. They voted in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the makeup of the season. There's some questions to be answered, or to at least for us to wrestle with, anyhow. Any other thoughts before we jump right into the acts themselves?
Not that I have in my notes. Not at this moment. No. So let's kind of go through them, and then we'll kind of give our thoughts about as the show went on.
All right. Well, our first act was Bianca Ryan, the winner of America's Got Talent Season 1. We open up with Terry Crews kind of chatting with her backstage a little bit, and we learn a little bit about what she's been doing since Season 1. She's certainly grown up, and we get a lot of flashbacks of young Bianca Ryan when she was performing, as she was going up through the season 1, and her different performances there. And she said that she was having a lot of voice issues, and we learned that one of her vocal cords was paralyzed, and she's had to rehab and get herself back on stage. She lost a lot of the spotlight, she said, that she had from 13 years ago, and was looking forward to getting back out on the stage.
Yeah, she was under the impression she was feeling that people were starting to forget her.
Yeah. So she comes out on stage to do her song. It's a song called Say Something. Are you familiar with the song at all, Cody?
It seemed like I've heard this song. Is it by a artist or group, A Great Big World? Is that?
It is, yeah. I'm not real familiar with the song. I looked it up afterwards. To be honest, I don't listen to a lot of popular music. I haven't listened to much music at all, really, in the last 20 years. So, a lot of times the original of the performances that we see, it's a little bit lost on me, or it's not something that I'm familiar with to be able to judge them against, or to judge their artistry against. But I can appreciate the song for what it is. I thought she did a beautiful job. Her stage presence was maybe lacking a little bit. But the piano stage presence, did you notice that?
There's a giant angel wings on the piano.
Yeah, I thought it looked kind of like a giant swan piano.
Yes, yeah.
But boy, that was something. She finishes her song. Simon says he's thrilled that Bianca's back. Howie says he's proud and very pleased that she was able to overcome and get back on the stage. Mel B said that she did a great job with dynamics and she had a lot of range. And Mel B said something that she took us on a journey, right? It wasn't just it wasn't all loud and big. It wasn't all soft and quiet. It was a journey, that her song. Heidi said that she was absolutely amazing. And my grade for Bianca, I'm going to give her a C+.
Ooh, okay.
Her initial grade from me was, let me pull it up here, kind of my preseason, what am I thinking here, from Bianca Ryan. I had her at a B, so she got knocked down to a C+ after seeing her live. It was okay. I wasn't thrilled. What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. Of course, I'm not big on the singers, but it was nice to kind of see our OG AGT winner back. You're right, she has grown up. The struggles that she's had to go through with the paralyzed vocal cord. I think it was definitely I considered above average performance. Was it the best act of the night? Probably not. And I thought the song choice was fine. I'm not sure, what her style really is. I haven't really listened to a whole lot of Bianca Ryan.
Yeah.
In the last 14 years. But I think she did a fine job. I think it was a good lead off to the show.
It was a fine lead off to the show. It sets the tone, sets the pace. She looked great. But I like my singers to be something more than a singer. If you can be a singer and something else, it's big points in my book.
Well, I think you'll get that with one of the groups later on.
Yeah, you still have to be able to be a good singer, though.
Agreed.
So we'll get there. All right, our next group. Do you want to tell us about the Clairvoyants?
Yeah, so my group, the Clairvoyants, my favorite performance on AGT, they came out and they were going to do, or they're doing an act that they've never done before, something brand new. Now, one thing that really excited me, not just having them on stage, they had a live piano on the stage, kind of just playing some background music. They came out and the floor had, what's that called? The ball with the lightning inside of it. Is it got a technical name to it?
Oh, yeah, one of those, I don't know.
Yeah, you put your hands up to it and
lightning
connects to your hands. Yeah, I don't remember the technical name of it, but, they kind of had a little image of that on the ground, which I feel kind of fits the mysticism of the Clairvoyants.
All right.
But they wanted to do a deep dive into the judges' love life. Now the judges had a lot of fun with this because we kind of know what Mel B's gone through in the last couple of years with her divorce, and they've kind of talked a little bit about it on the show and made fun of it. So it was kind of a little funny to kind of to see this going on.
Sure, kind of fun setup for the act. They said something like, we get a lot of letters, and a lot of letters that ask about our lives, and also a lot of letters that ask about your lives and your love lives. I was like, there's no way people are reaching out to the Clairvoyants to find out more about the judges' love lives.
There's no way no one cares about Howie's love life.
Yeah, and if they care about Howie's love life, they are not reaching out to the Clairvoyants,
right?
But
right.
That aside, let's go ahead and talk more about what they did.
So they had they had some items, and they wanted the judges to kind of go on a perfect date type thing.
Yeah, their dream date.
Yeah, the dream date, yeah. So they had some postcards on a table, and they wanted Simon to kind of pick a destination that he would want to take his dream date. And then they had some some scented candles for Heidi to kind of pick perfect scent for the dream date. And then they asked Howie to write on a board something that he would bring along for his dream date.
Not creative gift, yeah.
Yeah, not something regular like let's say flowers and candy, but something just be creative. They basically said, and then they gave Mel B this mysterious box, and come to find out, like the Clairvoyants do, they were able to guess every single item.
Yeah, they determined that Heidi's candle was campfire scented.
Yes.
They determined that Simon chose the postcard for Shanghai.
Even though he had picked, Honolulu, and then changed it.
Yeah, he changed it at the last second.
Yes.
And I thought Simon's delivery on that was actually pretty good, because I thought he was going to say, no, I changed it to the wrong one.
Correct.
But he changed it to Shanghai, and she guessed Shanghai, so.
But
then Howie...
Yeah, he wants to bring along pants.
Because you don't want to show up without pants.
That's right. You need pants on. So I think that was very creative and off the wall, just normal type of item that's that you don't really think of.
Right.
And then they had Mel B open a box, and this is where it kind of lost me a little bit because we've seen this type of trick before. They had a remote control in the box and had Mel B press play, and they. Yep. They go outside, and Tommy is standing outside in front of the theater, and they have a little drone, I guess, and the drone goes up to the roof, and it shows Amelie riding pants and Shanghai and campfire.
Yeah,
on the roof.
Like spray painting it on the roof.
Right.
Boy, I thought that was kind of a weird payoff. I didn't feel like this act was... something very different than what they'd done for us in the past. The judges loved it. They said that their minds were blown. Mel B said it was crazy. Simon asked Mel B, why didn't you give them the golden buzzer?
Yeah.
So they were really impressed with it. Again, because I didn't think that it was very different from the tricks that they've done in the past, I graded them pretty harsh. I gave them a C-.
Wow. No, this was... I still get chills when I watch this. I felt it was somewhat different than what they've done in the past, especially with, writing something down random like pants. When you give them objects to pick, they can kind of maybe figure it out. But when you write something down like pants that's just completely random, they were able to figure that out. Now, the video at the end, we've seen magicians do stuff like this, and still to write pants up on a roof is, I think that's still kind of impressive. Anytime you have to have someone imagine something and write it down, I think adds a little bit of the mystery to the trick.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure how they got the video to say those things, but the trick is to have a video that says those things. So if they've got some stagehand backstage that has all the different permutations of what it could be, or if they somehow are able to manipulate it on the spot to make it say those things, I don't know. But you know what, they sell what they do very well.
Yes.
And they're fun to watch generally. I felt like it may have moved a little bit slow for me, but I graded them pretty harsh. But I know it's something that you like, and I can appreciate that this is the kind of thing that some people really, really get into.
Yeah, and I think what really sells it to me is the way they sell it. There are some magicians that kind of just stand up there and they just rattle it off, but the way that they sell it and they seem mystical, and they're the I guess maybe the accents kind of add something to it as well.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think that's what really plays into it for me.
Mm-hmm. One other note that I wrote down, I noticed that Tommy went from wearing just the goatee to a full beard style of facial hair.
Yeah, that's probably more 2018 than 2016.
Yeah, he's growing up a little bit.
Yep. But we kind of changed pace after the Clairvoyants and go with Sarah and Hero.
Yeah, so they didn't have any backstage introduction with Sarah and Hero. No Terry Crews here. She says she no longer lives out of a car. They have a house. And she tells us that Hero's getting older, and it means a lot to be able to get to perform with him one more time on stage.
Yeah. Now, it was kind of at this point, because if you notice when the acts came out, the judges would get real excited, like they were surprised. Did you happen to notice that? Like they were surprised who was showing up. You don't think they have a run sheet kind of in front of them?
They have to.
Okay, because they seem like, especially one of the acts later on, they seemed really surprised by who was coming out each time.
Yeah, the judges, at the very least, they're interested in making a good TV show, and if their reactions and actions are over the top and interesting, that's what they want to make for us. There was no storyline of the judges don't know who's coming out. I think if that were the case, they would have played that up and had some fun with it. But they certainly had to know what was coming.
Well, they certainly fooled me then, because they seemed really excited every time a performance came out, like they didn't know who was coming. So, but when Sarah and Hero came out, you could kind of tell that Hero was putting a little age on himself.
Oh yeah, he's not quite the puppy that he was.
What did you think of their Fort Knox heist that they did?
Boy, so we start out. She's kind of in front of this vault door with a quote bag of money. Hero appears to be her accomplice in this bank heist. They do a few like dance moves and Hero hops around and backwards and kind of jumps off of her back or whatever. He takes that bag of money over to a cart with more bags of money and gold bars stacked on it. He pushes that cart across the floor. That was maybe one of the highlights of the act. They do a few more tricks, Hero jumping around, and one in particular trick where Sarah, she is standing with her hands on the ground and Hero jumps up on her back, and then Hero stands up just on his back paws with his front paws up in the air. So she was kind of on all fours and he was on two on her back. It's a pretty good trick. The very last move, I think, is the one that they wanted us to go with. He takes a wad of cash in his mouth. He jumps into the suitcase where earlier Sarah had put the bag of cash a minute ago, and he hides in there while we hear police sirens at the end of their act. It was fun. It was cute. Hero jumping into that bag at the very end with just his nose peeking out. It was adorable. The judges and the crowd loved it. I ranked them. I gave them a B-, which was far better than the Clairvoyants. But preseason I had given Sarah and Hero a C, so they're trending up. Trending up a little. Unfortunately, that's we'll get into who goes through and who doesn't later on. But I enjoyed this. Mel B said it made her smile. Heidi said, hey, good luck. Terry met her backstage. She said, I think we have a chance. He's a doggone good dog. I liked them better than Bianca. I liked them better than the Clairvoyants. This was not the best dog act that we've seen on AGT. And I guess one mention here, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but, whenever I see Howie given his comments, he'll say something, now it's up to you to vote, or it's up to those 50 states is what he says here. And whenever Howie says something about, you need to go vote, or we need to, it's up to everybody to vote, I feel like that's his way of saying, I'm not sure that I would vote for you. Or his way of saying, I don't really like your chances here. Is that something you've noticed, or am I just kind of reading too much into it?
No, I've always noticed when he says, you need to vote, you need to vote. But I haven't taken it that way. I've kind of taken it the other way that, he's maybe on the fence about it, or I actually think he might lean a little more towards he did like it. And he's telling us you need to go vote. But you might actually be right in that he's leaning the other direction, that it's not one of his favorites, but if you enjoy it and you want to see him go through, then you need to go out there and vote for him. Because when there is an act he does enjoy, he'll tell you, I think you're going to win, or I think you're a champion, or I think you're the best act of the night, and things like that. So you might be onto something there.
Just an observation I had. Any other thoughts on Sarah and Hero before we move on?
No, I think you hit all the points. My favorite thing was definitely him jumping into the suitcase. I kind of got a little teary-eyed watching this. Just thinking about Hero getting a little older, and my dog is getting older as well, and just you've had this partner for so many years, and you just know that there's not many years left with your little puppy dog. And I know Hero has kind of brought her great happiness, and now brought millions of AGT watchers happiness watching him perform. So I did also like their song choice. Did you happen to notice that?
You know what? I didn't make a note of it.
So they performed a Hall & Oates "You Make My Dreams Come True."
Oh yeah.
Which I really like this song. So I thought that kind of hit a little bit with Hero kind of being a little older and making Sarah's dreams come true. So I thought that was a real good song choice.
Yeah. That's a nice extra touch for sort of the sentiment they were going for.
Yeah. So then we move on to Uzeyer, right?
Yes, Uzeyer. It's embarrassing. Uzeyer Novruzov. He is a 42-year-old from Azerbaijan. He was back on season 10 not too long ago. During his sort of video package, we get to remember his fall. He fell maybe 20 feet from his ladder. Didn't have much of a way to catch himself on the way down. It was a pretty bad fall. If I recall, it hindered his ability to perform in future performances. I don't think he was a winning kind of talent, but I don't think that the fall helped him in his next performance by any means. But with that said, I love this kind of act, where somebody does something better than anybody else in the world. They master a thing that I didn't even know could be mastered. So he comes out for his act with his ladder. It's not an A-frame ladder. It's just two vertical poles. His first ladder had 6 rungs on it. He is kind of standing behind it, and he runs up the back and down the front and back down to the ground, and still facing the audience with the ladder behind him. He crawls backwards, and he balances at the top, and then he kind of does a few tricks where he swings around the top rung a couple of times before he tosses that ladder off stage. He grabs the tall ladder that we established when he was talking with the judges that he hadn't used since he fell on the show. Just for comparison, I was measuring the ladders sort of in my mind. That first one was 6 rungs tall. This one is 11 rungs tall. So it's nearly twice as tall. Maybe it actually is twice as tall when you add the extensions beyond the top and bottom rung. But he climbs to the top. He puts his feet on top of those vertical poles, and he balances there for a few moments before stepping down and sliding back down to earth. I loved this act. What were your thoughts on it, Cody?
This is kind of where I felt the show kind of took a downward turn a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of cool at first, and I applaud him for coming back to kind of redeem himself. Something that kind of defeated him the first time he wanted to conquer it again. I think that's admirable. But I kind of wanted to see him do something different. From what I understand, is this all he does is the ladder tricks?
Yeah, that's all I remember him seeing.
Okay.
Remember seeing him do, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, just the video that I saw when we were talking about him in the preview, all I've seen him do is the ladder tricks. I kind of like to see him do a little bit something different. Maybe, I don't even know if we saw him do like handstands on the ladder. I think he's just climbing them up and down and kind of standing on them a little bit. But I'd like to see maybe like handstands, or some other contraption that he can, run up and down or whatever. I just felt this kind of took a downward turn a little bit.
All right. Yeah, I think that he does something that very few other people in the world do, and I appreciate that about his ladder tricks. I don't specifically recall if he ever does handstands on them or what else he might do up there. But I thought this leaning more into the Danger Act territory might be more your thing. But I really enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I like the Danger Acts, I also expect more out of them. And this being AGT the champions, I think you kind of need to step it up. Not pun intended with it being a ladder and whatnot. I think you need to step up your game. I think you need to go bigger. And he did go bigger with the ladder, but it was the same ladder he's done before. I just kind of wanted to see him do something. He could start out with a small ladder, and then maybe go with the big ladder. But then also I want to see something even bigger, and that's where I started noticing that these acts were really short, because I just felt like he went up and down the ladder a couple of times, did the big ladder, and then he was done.
I did think that this was a short feeling performance.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Honestly, at this point, I'm not thinking that he's winning kind of talent. I don't think that he's likely to go through to the next round. But I like him, and I like this act, and he's my front runner at this point. I gave him an A-.
Wow. I do like his personality. I think he's a lot of fun. He seems like he's got good stage presence.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have given him that high of a grade. So I wanted more out of him. I wanted him to go bigger.
Yeah. No, that's fair assessment.
Yep.
Thinking maybe a little bit more about that, I may bump that down on a rewatch. But in the moment, I was loving it.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a really good act.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Should we move on to Vicki Barbalack?
Right, and again, that's where I kind of felt like this show had taken a downward turn, because kind of the same with Vicki Barbalack. I just don't feel like she brought her A game this time.
Yeah, I didn't think it was wonderful. Her video package, we get to see her sort of, playing the trailer park role.
I like the video package.
She sort of plays that that trailer trash, that white trash character. We get to watch her journey through her season, get to see her successes up to this point. She tells us that she's concerned about being on the same stage as Preacher Lawson.
I think that's valid.
Which, looks good for Preacher.
Yeah.
And she comes out and she gives everybody her line. It's trailer nasty.
Yes.
And
the judges I think Heidi started it.
Yeah, it might have been Heidi that said it first. Now, one thing that I can say I really did like about this, when she came out on stage at first, Howie says, we're so happy to see you back. When we're driving through Vegas, we see your face on billboards now. And without missing a beat, she cuts him off. She says, "Wanted."
Yes.
And, like that quick wit, it's not just prepared material. She's good on her feet.
Yes.
And I appreciate that banter more, I think, than I appreciated her act.
Yeah.
Her prepared material.
Yep. Because she disappeared and then came back out and kind of did her introduction then.
Yeah. So she walked off stage. She comes back with two hunks on, one on each arm, who give her a kiss before leaving the stage. Says she just bought the second nicest trailer in the park. and is thinking about buying a second trailer in L.A., and she makes a lot of jokes about L.A. people and some dog jokes. Maybe it's because I'm from the Midwest and I'm not L.A. people, and celebrities and celebrity culture just isn't something that interests me, that I follow at all. But this act did not land with me.
No, it didn't land with me either. I mean, I've been to L.A., and I've seen TV shows, and I'm kind of exposed to pop culture some, and like the Kardashians, those type of shows where they make fun of L.A. and Southern California all the time. It resonated a little with me, but still, I just felt like the whole thing just fell flat. Yeah,
it was a little flat for me. Heidi made a comment. She said that the performance was too short, and also noticed that her skirt is quite short.
Yes.
Howie reminds us that... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, she did look different, though. She looked like she maybe had lost a little bit of weight. Now, it hadn't been very long since the show, since she was just on season 13. I mean, she probably took a quick break for a few weeks and came back, but she did seem like she'd lost a little weight since she was on season 13.
Yeah, she looked healthy. She looked happy. Yeah. I think that she there's no doubt. Like, she looks like a woman who is just loving life. Just happy and smiley and a lovely person. It wasn't my act tonight. Whether it was my state of mind or her material, I didn't love it. Simon said something like he thinks that this act could have won, like tonight's performance could have won her season when she was on, and I don't know. I disagree.
Yeah, and I've kind of messaged you because I've started finishing season 13. I still have yet to watch the finals. So I've watched all the semifinals though.
Okay,
but I haven't got to the finals. Still working on it. And one comment I made to you was that I didn't feel like her semifinals was very good. And I think I would have gone with Erin Crow over Vicki Barbalack.
Yeah, I agreed with that. I thought that Erin Crow was a much more engaging performer than Vicki Barbalack. But you know what? Some people, a lot of people, love her.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I gave her a C-.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Next, we've got Alex Magala.
Yes,
you've finally
got to see him.
Been introduced to the real Alex Magala.
Yeah. Now, AGT kind of previewed this video a little bit.
Yep.
They released it out on Twitter a few days before the show actually aired. I was gonna not watch it. I think we even talked about it some in the last preview. I was not going to watch it, but I decided over the weekend I'll go ahead and watch it, and I loved it. I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. Before he comes out on the stage, in his video package, he tells us he's 29 years old. He's a sword swallower from Moldova. He sees a sword swallower on AGT. He uses that as inspiration to start swallowing swords.
I'm curious which one it was that he saw, though.
I'm not sure what he would have seen. But he turns that into performing on Russia's Got Talent. Now, another note here that I wanted to make is that Alex Magala, he was on America's Got Talent season 8.
Okay.
He was on Italy's Got Talent the same year, 2013. He was Russia's Got Talent in 2013.
Well, he's just making the rounds, isn't he?
Ukraine and France in 2014, and Britain's Got Talent in 2016.
I think at some point Got Talent's just got to say, okay, enough's enough.
I don't have Alex Magala fatigue.
Okay.
Oh, I missed Czechoslovakia in 2016 as well. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different Got Talent franchises that he's been on.
Well, he's definitely making the Got Talent rounds. So
yeah,
good for him.
But you know what? He's good enough to get on. He was winner in Russia, finalist in Britain and Italy, semifinalist in Ukraine and Czechoslovakia, quarterfinalist in America back in season 8. So
he was a finalist in Britain?
Yes, in 2016,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, wow, okay.
So at least that's according to Wikipedia. So,
okay.
This may be false information, but this is one of those guys that, he's making a living doing what he does. I'm not sure if he, performs with a circus or with, if he travels around and does state fairs or, where he's able to use these skills.
He also said that he performed during the opening ceremonies at the Olympics in Sochi.
He did, yeah.
So somebody's got his eye on him.
Yeah, he does well on the big stage.
Yeah.
He says he's never done this before. Simon covers his insurance butt, and he says, we didn't ask you to do this act that you've never done before and is life-threatening.
Yeah.
You're choosing to do it yourself, right? So he says, yeah. So, in the act itself, do you want to walk through that, or
no? Go right ahead. You're doing
okay.
You're doing a fine job explaining these.
First thing he did was walk up to the judge's table. He takes a sword and inserts it in his mouth, like you do. Takes off his shirt and bows over and motions for Simon to pull the sword out of his mouth first. Yeah, well, you have to appeal to everybody where you can.
I guess so.
So he has Simon hold the hilt of the sword while he kind of backs away, and Simon pulls the first sword out of his mouth. He goes back up on stage. He reinserts the sword and does a sort of front side flip thing.
That was amazing.
Not sure what it's called, but the fact that he's doing acrobatics with a sword down his throat is really, really amazing. His third sort of bit of his performance, a sword drops down from the top of the stage on a rope or on a cable. He inserts that sword in his mouth, and he grabs handles. He's lifted maybe 10 feet up above the stage. He drops the handles and he hangs on. I'm assuming he's clamping down with his jaw. Grabs those handles again and then drops from the sword down his throat to the ground, leaving it hanging those 10 feet above the stage. That is a crazy move.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that one out because he's dangling with a sword in his mouth, so I was trying to figure out how he was doing it, but it didn't matter. He was dangling with a sword in his mouth.
He's dangling by his mouth with a sword down his throat.
Yes.
This is wild, right? Like, people don't do this. Where does he come up with this? And then for his big finale, he takes a big sword with some extra spikes at the hilt that point towards his face. Climbs to the top of his pole to do his death drop. He's maybe 20 feet above the stage now, face down, hanging by his legs, no arms, and he drops towards the stage. And at this moment, they cut to commercial break.
Of course they do.
I hate it when they do this.
Got to get you to watch those commercials.
I don't like the extra production. I don't like it when they have slow motion. I don't like the crowd reaction shots. I just want to see the act on its own. I don't want you to tell me what I should and shouldn't like. I don't want you to tell me what is and isn't scary. I want to see the whole thing and appreciate it without editor's commentary. I don't want to be influenced on my enjoyment of the act. But with that said, the act's still amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
After commercials, we see that he survived. Heidi said it was really difficult to watch. Simon said, I think it was more difficult to do than to watch. Mel B said it was absolutely crazy and she feels sick. Howie says, you are worthy of one of those final spots. Simon says he's millimeters away from killing yourself, and I loved it. Terry Crews, we get Terry Crews spotting. He says, I've never been more terrified in my life from the wings. So I really liked this act. I wish it hadn't been overproduced, but I'm going to give it a real solid A.
I think that's a very fair grade. If I had been Mel B, I would have pressed that golden buzzer as soon as I could.
Yeah, I think that this is a golden buzzer worthy.
Absolutely, but Mel B doesn't like these danger acts. She doesn't understand them. She doesn't get how exciting they actually are. She thinks that because they're gross, that they should be buzzed or not appreciated. So
she spends a lot of her time with her back towards them.
She does, absolutely, and I get that it's gross, it's scary. Just one of my comments on Mel B is that anything like this, it may be an excellent act. The guy may be dangling, with his life, millimeters from the floor, and then she'll buzz it.
Yeah.
But we didn't get any buzzes in this episode, so that was a good thing.
That is good, and I hope that we don't see one single buzz through this entire Champions series.
Agreed. So,
it's almost unfortunate that Simon or Howie didn't have the golden buzzer tonight, because that might have been what would put him through.
I did think it's an interesting twist for them to assign a night for a judge to have the golden buzzer.
Yeah, that is a different setup than they've had in the past. I'm okay with it. I have no problem.
Okay.
You have to narrow it down somehow. Talent is an absolutely subjective thing. I've kind of given up on trying to vote for acts that I like because, my subjective observations are not generally in line with America.
Okay.
And I was just kind of tired of making the effort. It wasn't worth it, and it never comes down to my 10 votes anyhow. So
I never get to vote anyway because I'm always watching 2 or 3 days after it airs. So,
but I will say, America, go vote.
Yeah.
It's our civic duty. We have the right and the privilege. So let's not take that for granted.
Even if it is for a silly entertainment reality show.
For a silly entertainment reality show, you can let that slide. But take your civic duty seriously.
Well, now we get into Australia's Got Talent winner.
Yes, not the cousin of Terry Crews.
No,
as you maybe thought last time. Is that?
I thought it was a single person. When I saw the name, I thought it was a single person named Justice Crew.
No.
Okay.
This is a crew of people who are.
So is it a bunch of?
For
is
justice?
it a crew of judges? Is that what it is? Is it a crew that like?
I don't know.
Okay.
They're vigilantes, maybe. I don't know.
Ooh, okay, there you go. Yeah, and they do tricks and sing boy band songs.
Yeah, in their video package, we learned that they won Australia's Got Talent Season 4 as dancers. And they decided to take their dancing and start making music and doing music videos. They've had some real success. They said 5 top 10 singles.
Yeah.
2 of which were number ones.
Yeah. In Australia.
Yes. And we are going to see... Well, I'm asking, are we going to see more singing than dancing now? So I'm a little curious what we're going to see. So... in their act, we get plenty of slow motion crowd reactions and a lot of turning away from them. The dancing, the dancing was not perfect. The song, I looked it up. The song that they did was an original song performed by Justice Crew called "Boom Boom." With that said, I have a hard time believing that they were singing this live. They did one move during the dance break in their song that was notable. 2 guys on each side, a 5th member jumps like belly flop style. They grab his arms and legs when he jumps, and then they throw him back in the air backwards over the 6th member of the group. That was the only really cool dance move. I've seen way better dance moves from way better dance groups. They matched my expectations for what I expected on the whole. At the end of the song, one guy hold his hand for an extra number of seconds after the song ends, just as a little crowd pleaser there. The judges were not giving glowing reviews on this. Howie said, "There's a lot of competition, but you guys are very good." Mel B said the song is catchy, and she was expecting more from the dance.
Yeah.
Simon said there were a couple of people who have won the show before and declined to return because they were afraid to lose.
Yeah, I thought that was an
you guys have
comment.
the guts to come out here and compete, possibly lose. I don't know.
I thought that was an interesting comment by Simon.
Yeah, throwing a little bit of shade.
Yeah. Now I'm curious who those acts were.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that concerned about that. It would be curious to know who they were, what their reasoning was, but I don't need to spend my energy on that. But it was an interesting comment from Simon. All of that to say, not great reviews from the judges. We didn't even hear anything from Heidi. I'm giving them a D+.
I think that's being very generous. It's a boy band.
It's a boy band.
They started out just dancing. The dancing wasn't great. Then they went to singing. I think when they were singing, there was a lot of wide shots. So I'm sure they finished at close to the bottom in the voting.
I'd have to believe so. Yeah. So for fun here, Cody, I found the lyrics to their song.
Okay.
Which they cut very short for their live performance. The real song is, they repeat a lot, but it's much longer. So the end of the live performance, I want you to guess how many times they said the word boom, B-O-O-M.
So throughout the whole song?
For their live performance, how many times did they say the word boom?
I'm going to guess they said boom 30 times.
Ooh, that's a little high. It was 16.
Okay.
But half their performance was the dance break.
Okay.
So, maybe you got a little confused on that. So, the lyrics themselves are nothing to write home about. Okay, gangs are here, and everything feels all right. Ladies, the drink's on me. Yeah, we can do the shots all night. That's right. Let's go. Ladies be dropping so low, man. It's hot in here, and we got money to blow. Oh. The party is rocking. The whole crew is popping. We on this. We got this. Let's go. Oh. Whatever. It's fine. But they repeat themselves a lot in the entire song. They had 16 booms at the end of their live performance. I counted up how many booms there are in the full version of the song. Do you want to give a guess on that?
So they did 16 in the short. I'm going to stick with my 30, maybe go a little higher at 35.
Let's call it 76.
Whoa.
76 booms.
Okay, so they had 60 more booms compared to what they sang in this.
60 more booms.
Wow.
Because the body goes boom, boom, boom. New York to Cali, boom, boom. London, Miami, boom, boom. The girls be slamming, boom, boom. Because the body goes boom, boom, boom. It's fine. All right. 76 booms. I'll take 76 trombones any day.
There you go.
That's more my speed.
Yep.
But you know what? It's you know what? They're champions. They showed up. This is different than what they did in Australia's Got Talent as just the dancing. They added the singing. I'll say maybe I wish they would have stuck with just the dancing.
Maybe so, but kind of like my comment I made about Uzeyer. You got to go big or you got to go home. So
yeah,
they tried something different. You got to applaud them a little for that. It's still not good, but they put it out there.
Yeah, maybe they get to go big and go home.
It's true. Well, fortunately, after that, we actually got some good singing.
All right, we are back into some better stuff here.
Yeah.
We are into Susan Boyle. Her name is synonymous with the Got Talent franchise. Second place in Britain Got Talent in 2009. That was their third season. She's since sold some 20 million records.
20 million records. That's a lot of records.
She's doing great. She's doing great for herself.
She's doing just fine, yeah.
In her video package, I really enjoyed this. Because she comes from such a humble place, and she is such a humble woman. You in her interview, you hear the producer asking, "Do you consider yourself a champion?" And she says, pretty close to the quote here, "I consider myself a champion for those who maybe don't have the confidence to do things, for those who don't have a voice, for the ones people maybe tend to ignore. I feel I'm a champion for them." And I love how she takes that word champion and twists the meaning of it. I'm not a champion because I'm better than everybody. I'm a champion because I'm cheering for them. I think that she really, truly is an inspiration for a lot of people. She comes out on stage. She looks great. She's smiling. She does a little shimmy. This is where I think you were talking about, where the judges look genuinely surprised to see her.
Yeah, they didn't. It's almost like they didn't expect her to be there.
Yeah, Simon looks thrilled. She announces she's going to sing a song, Wild Horses. Are you familiar with Wild Horses at all?
So the only Wild Horses song I'm familiar with is the one Garth Brooks sings, and it's not the same lyrics.
No, this one is done originally by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
And it's sort of an acoustic sounding jam. Like it is, she paid homage to the original style of it, I think. She stands up there, she sings her heart out. She's really pleasant to listen to. She's technically very proficient. I would rather listen to her voice than many other singers that we've had on the stage. Unfortunately, she doesn't do anything more than sing for me. She's not that singer plus, unless you count her plus as, being Susan Boyle. Like, that counts for something, because she really is an inspiration, and she really is amazing.
Yeah, she's not a Mariah Carey. She's not anything flashy. She's just very humble, down to earth. She gets up there and she sings fantastically. Yeah.
She's not beautiful, but she is wonderful.
Yes.
Not beautiful. Yeah.
This Wild Horses. Did she sing that back in her finals or back? It seemed like I had this that she sang that back in 2009.
There are recordings of it. I don't know when she might have done it. She may have even done that on Britain's Got Talent in 2009.
Okay. That's what I thought she might have been doing, was kind of not really recapping, but playing homage to her performance back then in front of Simon. It's like, hey, Simon, remember when I did this type thing.
Yeah. She's marvelous. I really enjoyed seeing her on the stage again. She finishes up. She gets a standing ovation. Of course, Simon says, "I can't think of any other contestant who has defined the show better than you." Like I said, she is synonymous with the Got Talent franchise.
Terry Crews called her a legend.
Yes. Yep. He said she's a legend. Howie, said that they're looking for that quote Susan Boyle moment.
Yes.
Right. Like she is that definition of the Susan Boyle moment. She literally is Susan Boyle. Mel B says it's a pleasure to be sitting there with her. And she says, "It's such a pleasure, I'm going to give you the golden buzzer." So she gets that golden buzzer there, which means she is going to be through to the top 10.
So the finals.
Through to the finals.
Yep.
Heidi says she's so sweet. Just going back here real quick, Heidi has had very little to say on the last few acts. after Alex Magala, she said he was difficult to watch. Didn't have anything to say about the Justice crew. The only thing she said about Susan Boyle was she's so sweet. So it's like we're real short on Heidi for some reason, and I wouldn't have noticed this other than I was taking down the judge's comments just to sort of have them in front of me. It's like, well, son of a gun. I wonder, what might have been pulling her away from having more to say or what. But, maybe she's just allowing space for the other judges to have their say. I don't know. But she really, just an observation, I guess.
And I didn't really notice it. I wasn't taking, normally I take really good notes about what the judges say. I didn't particularly this time. But now that you mention it, it did seem like we were a little light on Heidi this episode.
A little light on Heidi. I took down the lyrics of the Wild Horses song, and I want to report that there are 0 booms in Wild Horses. That's 76 fewer.
So, no Wild Horses, boom, boom, boom.
Nope.
Okay. Maybe that's why she sold 20 million records, and they've probably sold... Well, no, I'm not. I was going to make fun of it, but they've got 2 number 1 hits in Australia. So
yeah. They might be platinum. I don't know.
Is Boom 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 one of those top 10 hits? Top 10 singles?
Not for me. I'd have to imagine that they were bringing their best stuff, their biggest hits to the stage.
Okay.
But yeah. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
She's Susan Boyle's wonderful. Really, really happy to see her on the stage. I am looking forward to seeing her give us another performance.
Well, and you will, because she's also on your team.
Yes. So, yeah, my first act of my top 10 to go through. Moving on to the next act, though, we've got Sofie Dossi. She is a finalist from 2016, so just 2.5 years ago. We see highlights from her season 11 performance. She tells us she was crushed when she was eliminated, but ready to get back on stage and show the world what she's got. What did you think of Sofie Dossi's act?
This was another one that I felt went really quick as well. I love Sofie Dossi. She's one of my favorite acts. I like contortionism.
Yeah.
Back when she was on, she was Reba McEntire's Golden Buzzer, and Reba McEntire is one of my favorite singers of all time. So it was kind of cool to kind of see that. But I felt this one was a little short. It started slow. She was on her little pegs, her pedestals.
Yeah,
doing her thing where she's got her feet over her leg or over her head, and then she goes to this hoop and goes up in the air, does some spins. Now the really fast spin at the end, that was pretty impressive, but it felt like it was over quick.
It was over really quick. I really agree with that. Her contortionism is great. We see a lot of contortionists on America's Got Talent. I believe she's the contortionist to get the furthest in the competition ever, that I'm aware of anyhow. She's really good at what she does. She makes her butt touch her head, and that's mind-boggling to me. But this was really short, and she didn't shoot any flaming arrows with her feet.
No, I was a little disappointed in that as well. I mentioned Uzeyer kind of did his thing, but I would love to have seen a flaming bow and arrow from Sofie Dossi.
Yeah. So I was a little bummed that we didn't get that. What can you say? She gave us a really good performance. If Terry Crews's athletic ability is worth anything, he says that is one of the most athletic things I've seen in my entire life. And you have to believe that he's seen some athletics in his life.
Yeah.
Mel B, she points out that there was no bow and arrow, and she missed that. But she said that this was better, which surprises me. I would expect with the bow and arrow to be the preferable act. Heidi says she really brought her A game today, and Simon says that was incredible. By far the best performance we've seen from you. And then I have a note. Did this feel really short?
Yes, it did, because it was.
But it was. I'm going to give her an A-. I really liked this act.
Okay. I probably would have knocked it a few points for being a little short and not having her bow and arrow. And you were talking about this contortionist being the furthest a contortionist got.
Yeah.
One contortionist that I always seem to remember for some reason is Lindsay Norton from season 7.
Boy, that doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, she was one of the early contortionists I remember seeing. But she only got to the she was a wild card and she got to the quarterfinals. Okay. So yeah, I think you're right that this is. I mean, obviously, other than winning, she got about as far as a contortionist could get. So she's one of the most successful contortionists we've seen.
Yeah, and she's very, very good. I really enjoyed her. Moving on, we get to Preacher Lawson. He is our last act of the night.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Preacher throughout the show. Yeah,
I made a note clear back at let's see, back. Clear up here by right before Alex Magala, right after Vicki Barbalack. I said, we keep seeing a lot of Preacher Lawson backstage talking to people. I wonder if that bodes well for him in this round. So that was my comment clear back there. And now we're finally to him. He was on season 12 and his video package says that he had a lot of hard times before going on AGT, and now he's selling out every club he goes into. He's been able to bring his family to LA. He's given them food and they're housed. Does a little funny basketball skit with his brothers. And then we get to him on stage and Mel B asks him a question about his son, which he reminds her he doesn't have a son.
Yeah, he's like, I have a son?
he was joking that maybe she was wanting to have a son with him, maybe.
Yeah.
So they're getting real friendly. The act itself, do you want to give any commentary on that?
So I thought it started off real slow. I thought it got better, but the highlight of it was when he was actually finished. Yeah.
His banter is better than his material.
Yes.
Kind of like Vicki.
And I think we kind of see that. And we've seen that with Taylor Williamson. We've seen that with Tom. We've seen that with a lot of the comedians where their banter with the judges is much better than the stand-up. And I think that just a lot of it has to do with they don't have a lot of time to really get, warmed up. They don't have the time to get the audience warmed up. It takes time to kind of build up those jokes and then get to a climax and then, I don't know what it's called, but then revert back to the beginning at the end of your joke.
Yeah, it's really hard to have an emotional journey with 90 seconds, 120 seconds. It's not a lot. The jokes themselves about being a vegan, about dating a white girl as a black man. I'm not sure that would have flew had it been flipped. If it had been a white guy talking about dating a black woman. I hesitate to talk much about race and that stuff.
Fair enough.
But
no, that's fair. I can respect that.
It is something that he seemed to get the crowd on his side. It did make me a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't love it.
Okay. But I did think it was funny. I just think it would not be as funny if it were flipped.
Yeah. And part of good comedy is walking that line of what makes people uncomfortable and being able to laugh at it and be able to laugh with them. It wasn't great. It wasn't great for me. It was fine. I thought it was fine. Technically, he's a very good comedian. I'd be hard-pressed to find any comedian with more energy than him. He has really good timing. He delivers his lines really well. Just the material, the lines that he delivered, I didn't think were great. I've never really cared for his material. I don't know if it's, what the disconnect is.
I think a lot of his comedy has to do with his body language. The way he kind of walks around the stage, the way he kind of moves his body. I think that is what really gets people to laugh more. I mean, I think the jokes go with it, but I think a lot of it, in addition to that, is his body language. Yeah,
and he has really big and really good facial expressions.
Yes.
He's his comic abilities are there. I'd maybe be interested in seeing some more material, some different material. The judges loved him. I thought he was fine. Mel B says, if I would have kept the golden buzzer, it would have been yours.
Well, yeah, because nobody else would have got it. It would have been by default his.
I suppose.
Being the last one, it's by default his.
Assuming we saw them in the order that they performed that night.
I would think so, because she referenced that she'd already used it. I thought that as well, is that did we actually see them in the order they performed, but she referenced that she'd already used the golden buzzer. So
yeah, but I mean, they could have been the first and second acts of the night.
I guess. I guess so.
Didn't have to be the second to last and the last act.
That's true.
But, Howie calls him a superstar. Heidi says he brought everything today. She asked him a little bit about his pants, and we get to see more of his body language.
His jeggings, is that what she called it? Jeggings?
Jeggings, yeah. Jean leggings,
yeah.
Okay. He shows off his jeggings for her.
makes his tushy pop.
Yep. Simon says, before you were great, tonight you were fantastic.
Yeah.
So they liked him a lot. I gave him a C-.
Okay.
The material didn't land with me. And again, that's something I might bump up a little bit, just with thinking about his technical proficiencies. He's technically very, very good. So that's something that I might change for it. But I gave him a C- after watching the act.
I hope this is not one of the problems we're going to see with the comedians in the next 4 episodes, is these, everything being condensed, them not having as much time. I hope that doesn't hurt the comedians, because I want to see Taylor Williamson and Tom Cotter and some of these other comedians really be able to shine. And I'm afraid that the condensed time is going to hurt them.
Yeah, hopefully they have a chance to put more on the stage, so that's true.
And Taylor Williamson's kind of got a good rapport with the judges as well. His wit is top notch too.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. And I like to see the judges or the comedians interacting.
Yes.
I like to see them having a conversation and being quick and being witty, more than I like them delivering their prepared material.
Agreed.
So with that, we're through the 10 acts. We know that Susan Boyle is already through with the golden buzzer. Before they revealed their top 3, and then their the top 1 voted by our 50 states, I wrote down my top 5.
Okay.
It was a pretty clear top 5 for me. I had Alex Magala, Uzeyer Novrazov, Sofie Dossi, Sarah Hero, and Bianca Ryan. I would have put Susan Boyle up there if she wasn't already through.
Okay, so you had 2 of the 3.
I had Sofie and Bianca. Yeah.
Okay.
Of the 3 that they gave us, Bianca Ryan, Preacher Lawson, and Sofie Dossi, I was pulling for Sofie. I would have loved to see her go through. I thought it was a slim chance. And it turns out it was. She got 3rd of 3. would have loved to see her shoot that arrow instead of just the contortion and the acrobatics, because that's such a unique talent. But that's fine. So we're down to Bianca Ryan and Preacher Lawson. Terry Crews tells us that Bianca Ryan did well with the West Coast.
Whatever that means.
Yep, whatever that means. Preacher Lawson did great with women under 34.
Whatever that means.
And our winner is Preacher Lawson. So Preacher Lawson's going through to the finals with Susan Boyle. How do you feel about that result?
I'm okay with that result. I felt what really helped Preacher was his post set when he was interacting with the judges. I think that's what really propelled him over. Being last, and then ultimately interacting with the judges after he actually did his set. I think that's what put him over the top. I think if he hadn't done that, or if he'd gone somewhere else in the night, it would have been somebody else. It wouldn't have been him.
Yeah, might have been a very different result. Probably Bianca Ryan at that point, right?
Maybe. I guess so, because somebody else would have been moved into the third spot. If you're just assuming everyone moved up a spot.
Yeah. That would have to be the assumption, but I don't know. Really surprised that we didn't see Alex Magala in the top three. I expected him to be there.
Yeah, America doesn't like danger acts for some reason. They like them to a point. They don't like them once they get to the semifinals. For some reason, they don't like danger acts moving on to the finals.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know. I thought he was great. With all that said, I think Susan Boyle was clearly one who should have gone through. I would have picked somebody other than Preacher Lawson as my second if it were up to me, but it's not.
I think Susan Boyle was. I mean, she did a fantastic job, but I also think she was probably like the sentimental choice for the Golden Buzzer.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that.
Yep.
I really enjoyed seeing her on the stage, so I'm okay with it.
Well, that's everything from episode 1. Did we happen to see who's going to be in episode 2?
You know what? Should we update our draft?
Yeah, we can do that. So you had Susan Boyle move on.
I had Susan Boyle move on.
And I lost the Clairvoyants, Uzeyer, and Alex Magala.
You lost 3 last night.
So...
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to look at, and knowing what the format is now, I can't decide if we should keep what we have or go ahead and allow ourselves to make changes. Because obviously we know that Preacher is moving on. So if I put Preacher on my team, then I have someone in the finals.
Maybe let's stick maybe with what we currently have, and then when we get to finals, maybe redraft.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Our top 10 will each end up with 5.
5. I think that's probably fair. Or redraft. If you have people in your team, you can keep them.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. Yep. That sounds fair.
Okay.
So a rough night for you, losing 3 of your 10. And next week, oh man, I don't know where the list is. Do you know who's on next week?
I do not. I didn't see. Normally they kind of, on the real show, they kind of say, hey, next week we have these people. And they didn't do that this time. So I didn't go out and look to see who's going to be on.
I believe this is our list. Darcy Lynn Farmer, our singing ventriloquist. Courtney Hadwin, she's a tween singer, but she does it Janis Joplin style. We got Deadly Games, the knife-throwing duo.
I like them, yeah.
Christina Ramos, our singer from Spain. Piff the Magic Dragon, one of my favorites.
Good. I hope Piff has a chance. And he's another one of those comedian magicians that I hope he gets a chance to really show his stuff.
Yeah. He's Comedy Plus or Magician Plus, whichever way you want to look at it.
Sure.
Light Balance will be coming up.
Good.
Which I think will do well if our voting audience is actually there in the crowd that night.
Yeah.
We've said that they do well live. We'll have Taylor Williamson.
Good.
Ashley and Soley, another dog act or our dog duo.
So not Ashley and Pudsey.
Not Ashley and Pudsey.
Okay.
And then we've got the DDF crew, jump rope dance crew.
Yeah.
And Victor Key, our juggler.
Oh, there's your boy right there.
There's my boy. So that will be on Monday, the 14th. We'll get back together and talk again on Thursday, and you'll get her edited up and put out for the world on Friday, right?
That's the plan.
All right.
But if you guys got any comments or questions for us, you can reach out to us. We're on all the social medias, so Twitter at AGT Time, email agtcast@gmail.com, also on Facebook, AGTcast. Each of us is on Twitter. I'm on there at Cody L. Patterson.
And I'm on there at One Man Bander.
So reach out to us. Oh, also, leave us. We'd love to get a 5-star review out on iTunes. That way we can help other people find the show when it comes time for season 14 in the summertime.
Yeah. Like, rate, and review us. It's fun for us to do. As far as I can tell, we're going to be doing it for a while, whether you like, rate, and review us or not. But it's fun. If you're having fun with it, give us a shout out, share us, spread the word a little bit. We'd love to improve our reach.
Very much so. Well, you got anything else for tonight, Jay?
That's all I got. I feel like I've been talking a lot. I need a drink.
Absolutely. So until week 2, AGT Champions 2, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.